with all the promotions that you've had in the minor leagues the last couple of years, and some of the trades, do you think the minor leagues are as strong as they've been? Are they strong? Are they as strong now as they have been the last couple of years?
Well, I would say our organization, like our goal is to win Major League Baseball games, not to have the number one farm system forever. We always want to develop good players as best we can, but ultimately our job is to support the Major League team. And that's, what you're seeing come to fruition at the Major League level. So naturally, we had the best farm system for years, and now you're starting to see that help the Major League team win, and we prefer that, But we still have really good players, and we have great coaches, and we're gonna keep doing our best to keep making really good Major League players.
Your draft strategy obviously has to change when you go from top 5 picks to later in the first round. Is that something that you guys are actively thinking about in terms of changing your approach, or is it just still process best player available?
Yeah, I don't think that the strategy changes ever. I think you have a time to make a pick, and you want to make the best bet you possibly can every single pick. Every pick's valuable. Players come from everywhere, so our job is to make the best bet we can. And whether that's the first pick or the whatever round, every pick we're trying to make the best pick we can.
Larger percentage of your top 30, if you look at different lists, is made up of international prospects now as opposed to a couple years ago. How proud are you of that, specifically that growth in the organization with the international prospects?
Well, I'm proud of the whole organization. I think it starts with Mike Elias, and that he knew from the very beginning when he got here that we were going to hopefully still be here 6 years later, and that if we wanted to have a viable system, we needed an influx of international talent. And so he got Kobe, and Kobe Perez has done an incredible job of getting a staff down there and finding a bunch of players and helping us build a system and a pipeline. And on the player development side, the job was to sort of revamp the process of developing those players. And I think all those things combined, along with a really amazing facility, huge upgrade from what we used to have, now puts us in competition, I think, with all the other teams, to be one of the best at this. And what you just said, like now we've got almost half of our top 30 being international players. That's that vision that Mike had from the first day, and that's how it's part of how we keep our system strong. As now we're matriculating players to the big leagues.
It's kind of an esoteric question, but in the NFL, in the draft, you have draft value is as the draft goes along for 7 rounds. Is there something similar for that in Major League Baseball? Obviously, you can't trade first round picks anything but competitive balance round picks. But do you have a way of internally valuing what each specific pick is worth other than draft slot value?
Of course. Yeah, we have very smart people that work very hard to make decisions on everything that we do. And in order to do that, we have to evaluate a lot of different types of things, including draft picks. So definitely.
How much are the new rules in college where college players can now get paid? What impact do you see that having on the amateur draft?
I think it just gives players more options for what they want to do, whether that's sign with a major league team or go play in college. I think that ultimately, players still have to make a decision on whether they want to go into professional baseball and get their career started, or whether they feel like going the college route's best for them. And I think everyone's a little different, and I don't necessarily think it's a good thing or a bad thing.
Do you think you'll start seeing a shift where maybe more guys are going to college knowing that they can make more money right away versus going to the minors where salaries are a bit lower for them?
I think it's all a personal decision, but if there's more money there, then very well could happen. It's also it's a decision of a long-term play too. I mean, if they think that they're going to an organization who does a really good job of development, then that might be a better long-term strategy than taking a little more money in the short term.
Vance Honeycutt, first round pick. Obviously, you only got a handful of games from him at the pro level last year, but did you see a lot of the traits in those handful of games and talking to him that you had already seen at UNC?
I mean, Vance is a premier athlete, and it was a very small sample that we got to see. But what we got to see was who he is as a person, work ethic, and athleticism. And then once the season was over, he came down and was training with us in Florida for a while, and that was really the valuable time for us. You know, the little dip your toe in the water during the season was more just like, hey, just do your normal thing, and then when you come work with us, we're gonna get dirty. And I think he really appreciated that, and is really open to making himself better and better. So next season, we're excited to see where he's at.
For a player who's that advanced in college, do you think the high A level is in some way maybe more helpful to his development than spending more time at single A?
Yeah, I mean, I think you see a lot of the top draft picks, especially out of college, go to high A pretty quickly out of the draft now, especially now that there's not a short season single A anymore. If you look across, like, there's a decent number of them that either just start in high A or get there pretty quickly out of the draft. And we've done that the last few years with many of our college players. So it wasn't really out of the norm for him.
How would you assess Enrique Bradfield's development at the plate this past season? I know you guys are really excited about the defense and the speed, but that is something that you guys are working on. How would you assess the way that went?
Yeah, I think we knew when we drafted him that it was going to take some time, and that was okay. And to his credit, like, he knew that too, and he's worked very hard to do the things that were asked of him. And I think you really started to see, as we got through halfway through the season and later in the season, some of the benefits of the work that he's put in, and he has the ability to impact the game in a lot of different ways, and he's an exciting player.
What were some of those asks, Matt? What were some of the asks?
Yeah.
He was asked to do? Was it more like bat path, the way he was loading?
Some of that, some of just getting stronger in general, some of his just approach, you know, to where he's hitting the ball and at angles and all that. But yeah, but bat path would be part of it.
And that's in which way? Like a specific thing? Was he hitting too many balls in the air for a guy with a speed profile, or not driving enough balls in the air?
We like to teach hit the ball consistently hard, especially, you know, line drives, you know, as best you can in the air. And he was someone who, you know, may have hit it on the ground a little too much, but really what we were wanting him to do is hit the ball consistently on the barrel, you know, over the infielders' heads for line drives, and then from there I think he's going to have a lot of success.